Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have been working on this video for the longest time for you guys and it is finally here. I apologize that it has taken me so long. When I test out products for review, I honestly like to test them out multiple times under like different circumstances with different products so I can really give you guys a full comprehensive review. And I've been testing out a bunch of concealers, so it took me a while, but I finally have the video for you guys. So today's video is going to be all about the best and worst affordable concealers. All of these concealers are cruelty-free. You can find the majority of them at the drugstore, and they're all under $6 except for one. So I hope this video is helpful for you. I feel like I have something for everyone. So whether you have dry skin or oily skin, whether you like light coverage or full coverage, I think I'll have something that works for you. And then there are a couple of pros and cons to each one. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I do have a higher end version, which I'll link in the description box below if you guys are interested. Otherwise, let's jump into it. So I'll put timestamps in the description box below if you guys want to jump ahead. I'm going to start off sharing which concealers I'll be talking about and doing some quick comparisons, and then I'll share mini reviews of each one and share the pros and cons, the coverage and things like that. Check the description box below for more information where you can kind of jump ahead so you don't have to listen to the entire video. So here's a look at the concealers that I'll be talking about today. The first one is the e.l.f. Cosmetics HD Lifting Concealer, which is $3. The next one is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer, which is $3.99. Then we have the NYX HD Concealer for $4.99. Next, we have the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer for $5.99. The next one is the ColourPop No Filter Concealer, which is $6. And the last one is the Ulta Beauty Full Coverage Liquid Concealer for $9. So that one's a little bit more expensive, but I did still want to include it because it was cruelty-free and I kind of feel like it still falls under the affordable umbrella. Let me go through and share with you guys which ones are the best and worst in terms of value. So this is how much they cost per gram. And I know that matters a little bit more when the products are more expensive, but some people are still interested in that information, so I thought I would include it in this video. So we'll start with the best value. The first one is the e.l.f. Cosmetics Concealer. This one is 48 cents per gram. The second one is the Wet n Wild Concealer at 49 cents per gram. Then we have the Catrice Concealer at $1.24 per gram. ColourPop's Concealer is $1.50 per gram. NYX Cosmetics Concealer is $1.60 per gram, and then of course the Ulta Concealer is $3.96 per gram. So again, that one is the most expensive. Okay, let's start with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer. This one retails for $3.99. They have 6 different shades available on their website, and I wear this shade Light Ivory, which is the lightest shade. This one seems to match my skin tone almost perfectly. I felt like some days it looked a little bit dark for me once it kind of settled and dried, but in general it matches my skin well without, highlighting my under eye area. So if you have a lighter skin tone than me, I don't think they're going to have a shade that will work well for you. I would say that this concealer is probably ideal for normal to oily skin. I have oily skin and I feel like it stays in place pretty well for me, and I don't find it to be overly hydrating or overly moisturizing. I think it's probably a medium coverage concealer, and I don't find that it builds super well. I think if I apply one layer and blend it out and apply a second layer, it can look a little bit heavy and cakey on the skin, especially around the nose area. And this concealer does crease pretty badly on me. I will say that all concealers crease on me. I struggle with under eye wrinkles. I've just kind of had them forever. So I feel like I haven't been able to find like a magic concealer that doesn't crease, but some crease worse than others. I usually set my concealers with the Urban Decay Velvetizer, which is weird. I've talked about it on my channel in the past, and I'll link it in the description box below if you guys are interested. But my review is kind of based on just like a regular setting powder, and I find that this one creases pretty badly on me. I'll show you guys how it kind of settles into fine lines in the demo portion of this video. I don't find that there's a scent to the concealer, which is nice, and the doe foot applicator works really well. It does scrape off, or like the stopper in the concealer scrapes off the majority of the product, so it doesn't make a mess. You don't over apply the product. My overall thoughts on this concealer is that it's an okay concealer. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. That's kind of how I feel about the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation. It's an okay everyday foundation, but it's not my favorite. Same with the concealer. I feel like it's an okay concealer. It does the job. I feel like the coverage is okay, the texture is okay, but it's not my absolute favorite. I feel like there are worse concealers and there are better concealers. If you have oily skin and you're looking for a really affordable option, this might be an okay option for you. I personally will not repurchase it. I just kind of wear it to use it up, so I don't think I'll end up repurchasing it just because I have other concealers that I like a lot more than this one, but it's not a horrible concealer. It's just kind of in between for me. The next concealer is the NYX HD Concealer. This one retails for $4.99. They have 22 shades on their website. I wear the shade Fair, which is the third to lightest shade. So they do have 2 lighter shades and they have a bunch of darker shades on the website as well. I would say that Fair is kind of like a brightening concealer for me. I could probably go a shade darker if I wanted one that matched my skin tone really well, but this one brightens, which is usually what I go for when I wear this concealer. I would say that this concealer is probably ideal for normal to oily skin again, just because I feel like for me personally, it can enhance dry areas. Sometimes I get dryness around my nose and I cannot wear this concealer when I'm struggling with dryness because it will really cling to those dry areas. So I think if you have dry under eyes, it's probably not going to be ideal for you. But again, if you have dry skin and you've tried it, let us know what you think in the comments below. This one is a full coverage concealer and it builds really well. So you can apply it and blend it out. It blends out really beautifully, and apply more if you want. And I feel like it builds nicely. I will say that the creasing is the worst out of all of the concealers that I'm going to talk about. It's kind of like a stickier texture, so I feel like it really settles into fine lines horribly. You definitely have to set this concealer, but I can kind of deal with it because I feel like the coverage is really nice and the blendability is really beautiful. It has like a slight clay scent, but it's nothing super noticeable, especially compared to some of the other concealers. I think if you are sensitive to scents, it's probably not going to bother you a whole lot. The doe foot applicator is just like a skinny doe foot, and again, you get a good amount of coverage or a good amount of product on the wand, but you don't get too much product. So I do like the applicator. I think it works well. My overall thoughts on this concealer is that it is a good full coverage concealer. I have repurchased this in the past and I will continue to repurchase it because I feel like it kind of competes with some of my higher end concealers. It does crease horribly under the eyes, but I usually set it with like the Urban Decay Velvetizer and it's fine. So I can kind of overlook that, and I'll usually reach for this one over my higher end concealers when I want a more affordable option. Sometimes you don't want to spend a lot of money on a concealer, so if you're looking for a good full coverage option, I would recommend the NYX HD. Let me talk about the e.l.f. HD Lifting Concealer. This one retails for $3. They have 3 shades on the website, and I have the shade Fair, which is the lightest shade. I really wish they would release additional shades because I feel like they've been doing that with some of their other products. They've been expanding their shade ranges, which is really nice, but I wish they would do it with all of their products. So maybe they're working on it, I'm not sure, but for as long as I can remember, they've only had a couple of shades of this concealer. The lightest shade is too dark for me, but the darkest shade is still very light. So if you have a very fair skin tone, or if you have like a medium, tan, or deep or dark skin tone, they're not going to have something that works well for you. They really only cater to like light skin tones essentially. So I have the shade Fair, like I said. It's a little bit dark for me, but I can kind of make it work, especially during the summertime. I wear it as an everyday concealer. I think that this concealer is ideal for dry skin because I find it to be very hydrating. I also think it would work well for you if you have normal skin. I have oily skin and I do wear it, but I don't think it's necessarily ideal for oily skin. I would say it's more of like a light to medium coverage concealer. You can sheer it out to get a light finish, or you can build it up for more of a medium finish. It does build really nicely. The texture of this concealer is very nice and smooth, so I feel like you can build it on itself and it blends out really beautifully. This one does crease pretty badly on me because it is a very kind of like velvety smooth texture, so it really settles into the fine lines under my eyes. I would say this one does have like a strong scent. I feel like it's like a citrusy scent and it's very noticeable, so if you are sensitive to scents, I don't think you're going to like this concealer. It does have a doe foot applicator as well, and the doe foot does apply quite a bit of product. It's not a big deal because it is more of like a sheer, or not sheer, but like light to medium concealer, so it blends out really nicely, but just kind of keep that in mind. But my other thoughts on this concealer is that it is a nice concealer. I think for the price, it's such a high quality concealer, especially if you have dry skin. I feel like it almost blurs the under eye area, under eye wrinkles, under eye like dark circles, and it looks really beautiful on the skin. It's great for everyday wear. It looks really natural and luminous, and I just think it makes your skin look really gorgeous. I do, again, think it's ideal for dry skin, so I won't end up repurchasing it. I just feel like it's not ideal for me. If you can deal with the scent and you can find a shade that will work well for you, I think it is a good option. Okay, let's talk about the ColourPop No Filter Concealer. This one retails for $6. They have 15 shades on the website, and I wear this shade Fair Neutral 10, which is the second to lightest shade, which works really well for my skin tone. It's more of a brightening concealer, so I could probably go a shade darker if I wanted one to match my skin tone exactly, but they also have a lighter shade. And then they do have some like medium medium, tan, and deep colors on the website as well. I honestly think that this concealer is ideal for all skin types, and I don't say that about a lot of products, but I feel like no matter what skin type you have, you'll probably enjoy this concealer in some aspect. I would say that this is probably a medium to full coverage concealer. It blends out really beautifully, so when you blend it out, it looks really gorgeous. It kind of melts into the skin. I would say it's more of like a medium coverage, but you can build it up to full coverage. It builds really nicely. It doesn't look heavy or cakey on the skin. The creasing isn't terrible. I think out of a lot of them, this one probably creases the least on me, which is really nice. It does settle a little bit into my fine lines, but in general, the creasing isn't horrible, which is definitely an added bonus. It doesn't really have a super noticeable scent. The applicator is like a flat paddle brush, and there isn't really a great stopper in this concealer, so you do get a ton of product, and I would say that you really don't need to apply a ton of product to get great coverage. It's a little bit of a thicker concealer, so you really just need a somewhat small amount to cover your entire under eye area, and it blends out really nicely. I think that this concealer is hydrating, but it also stays in place really well, which is why I think it's ideal for all skin types. So if you have dry skin and dry under eyes, it's very hydrating, so it's not going to feel heavy or drying under your eyes. But if you have oily skin, it also stays in place really well. It kind of gives you like this luminous, brightened appearance under your eyes without looking too glowy or too oily. So I really do enjoy it for my skin. I feel like I wear it every single time I wear concealer when I have a choice, when I'm not testing out other products. This is my go-to. I think it's great for everyday wear, but it's also great if you're going for a full coverage look because you can build it up. But I just love how it makes my skin look. This one is my absolute favorite. I've been raving about it on my channel. I just think it's so high quality, and it competes. Actually, like, it beats a lot of my higher end concealers. I reach for this one over any of them. Let's talk about the Ulta Full Coverage Liquid Concealer. This one claims to be waterproof. It's $9 and they have 8 shades available on the website. I have the shade Light Cool, which I believe is the lightest shade. They kind of have 2 different options for each shade. So they have like Light Cool, and then they also have Light Warm, I think. I think that's what they do on their website. So they have 8 shades available. I have the lightest one. I feel like it works for my skin tone. It matches my skin almost perfectly. Exactly. It's not brightening at all though. So again, I would say if you have a lighter skin tone, I don't think that this concealer is going to be ideal for you. I think they have like a light to medium shade, a medium to tan. I don't think they have like a super deep shade as well. So just keep that in mind. This one is definitely ideal for dry skin. If you have oily skin, I would not recommend this to you at all. My oily skin looked insanely oily when I applied this. I felt like it made my skin look way more oily than it ever has in my entire life. So it's definitely not ideal for oily skin, but I think it is a good option for dry skin and extremely dry skin. I would say it's a medium coverage concealer. It kind of has like a moussey texture to it, so it feels very hydrating and very moisturizing on the skin. It builds really well. It's kind of similar to the ColourPop concealer, but a little bit different. It's a lot more hydrating, a lot more moussey, but I feel like the coverage and the blendability is very similar. So it blends out nicely, it builds well. It creases a little bit, but not as bad as like the Wet n Wild, the NYX, the e.l.f. Cosmetics, or the Catrice Cosmetics, which I'll talk about after this one. So I feel like the creasing isn't terrible for what it is. For how hydrating it is, I feel like it doesn't settle into fine lines too terribly. This one kind of has like a slight citrus scent, but it's nothing too noticeable. And the wand, again, is like a flat paddle applicator. It's a little bit smaller. I think that this concealer looks pretty natural on the skin, but it still gives you pretty good coverage. It looks really beautiful. It applies really nicely, and I feel like it is a high quality concealer. And if you have dry skin, I think you'll really enjoy it. And the last one that I want to talk about is the Catrice Cosmetics Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer. So this one is $5.99. They have 3 shades as well. I have the shade 010 Porcelain, and this one is actually the second shade on the website. So they have 3 very, very light shades, which is very disappointing. If you have anything darker than like a light skin tone, they're not going to have something that works well for you. I wanted to include it in this video because I've used it for a really long time, so I could really share my thoughts on it and let you guys know what I think. But hopefully Catrice will do better with their shade ranges. I feel like Catrice really struggles with their shade range. I think that this one again is ideal for dry or normal skin, but I have oily skin and I actually really enjoy it. It's a very hydrating concealer, so I don't generally reach for super hydrating products. Sometimes I do, and they work well for my skin type, but I feel like this one is very hydrating, but it still works okay for oily skin. But if you have dry skin or normal skin, you're really going to like the formula. This one has light to medium coverage. It does build well, but it really only builds up to maybe like a medium coverage. So it is a good lighter coverage concealer. It's probably ideal for everyday wear. And it does crease a little bit, but not as bad as you would think for such a liquidy, hydrating formula. I feel like it doesn't crease horribly. It does have a strong, fresh scent. I feel like it is the most noticeable out of all of the concealers. So if you're sensitive to scents, you're not going to enjoy it. It's fine for me once it's on the skin. I don't really notice it as much, but it is a really noticeable scent at first. So again, if you're sensitive, skip this one. It does have a doe foot applicator, which does apply quite a bit of product, but I like it because it's really lightweight and comfortable on the skin. Like I said, it's probably ideal for dry skin, but I feel like sometimes I just want a really nice, lightweight, comfortable concealer for everyday wear. I personally will repurchase this product once I run out because I feel like it works pretty well for me. A lot of you guys actually told me to try this concealer. A lot of you guys love it, so I ended up purchasing it because a ton of you recommended it, and I am happy that I did because it is a really great concealer. Okay guys, that's it for the reviews. I hope that was helpful. I wanted to keep them like short and concise, but still share like all of the same points about all of the concealers with you guys. So I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions about them, just let me know in the comments below. So like I said, the best oily skin options are probably ColourPop, NYX Cosmetics, and the Wet n Wild concealer, just depending on what you're looking for. And the best dry skin options are probably the Catrice concealer, the e.l.f. concealer, or the Ulta Beauty concealer. I think I kind of covered all of the main points, at least I tried to, but if you guys have any questions at all, or if there's any way I can kind of help you make up your mind about one of these concealers, just let me know in the comments below. If you guys have a favorite that I didn't mention, make sure you let me know in the comments below so I can check it out as well. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.